Everyone, I'm going to try to keep it fairly brief so we can have a conversation here. You have lots of insights and ideas. What has brought you here is a love for Scotland. And I would just say to John, I'm also Scottish. I am American, proud American, but I'm a Glaswegian, so my parents came to the United States about 30 years old and ended up in the San Francisco Bay Area. So that's where I grew up, and at a time where there were orchards and a burgeoning economy that was just growing. It was quite an experience. And so my dad grew up in a gritty area of Scotstoun in Glasgow, which wasn't a land of locks and castles. That was not his experience. But what he taught me and what I have carried with me is what is the strength of any economy, and we often don't focus in on this sector, is the small and medium enterprise sector of the economy. The same goes for the United States. In Scotland, that is the hallmark of the economy. The reality is, with Brexit, we're still talking about Brexit after all these years. I'm a writer. I write for the Herald Scotland every month. I try to be careful about when I'm asked questions of independence. I try to answer it this way. When we try to understand Scotland as a market, as an economic market based on the sectors that you're talking about, very important for a business leader or a political leader to understand that Scotland, in many respects, is independent. You cannot go into the market economically of Scotland without a knowledge that the nations that comprise the UK are unique. They all have various attributes. Cultural attributes, educational attributes, political structures. So for a business leader, you have to be wise about penetrating the UK market with a knowledge of what comprises the UK market. The analogy would be, many of us are going to go up to New York soon, next week. I think maybe some in the room will be headed up there. So many have the exposure of the United States of coming to New York. New York is one of the finest cities in the world. However, does one have a sense of America if they spend all their time in New York? The answer, of course, as beautiful and remarkable as that city is no. You have to understand America by getting out into the communities that comprise the diversity of this great country. North Carolina, California and San Francisco, very different from North Carolina. We all are gathered under the same banner, but we have unique attributes that make up the South and the Northeast and the West and the Mountain West. And so I wish to reinforce this point of the importance of the penetration to the United States through the lens of the locality. It's such a good point that you're making. I would even narrow the scope to, you mentioned cities, how important that is. We so often say Scotland, but Scotland has in and of itself regional attributes, city loyalties, as close as Glasgow and Edinburgh are geographically, very different. And so we need to understand as business leaders that Scotland is, yes, in so many ways unified, but it also has these sectors within it that have the attributes of regions, of Glasgow being different from Edinburgh, the attributes of the Highlands being unique, the south of Scotland and what the south of Scotland is doing, and Dundee and how Dundee is unique. So a business leader needs to understand that and approach the market of Scotland in that way. I think I just want to stop there, but I did want to make this point that we here congregated together in this beautiful house of Dacor, which is a remarkable property. Some may be coming here for the first time. It's such a special place. What motivates us as members of the diaspora of Scotland, or those who have an interest in Scotland or family connections to Scotland? We need to remember what so much drives a business decision is, or political decision, is that linkage. Is a Tartan, is a family member, is an immigrant who came to this country with real struggles. That is something that we carry with us. And so we need to do, by we, the Scottish Government, UK Government, a more effective job of mobilizing the diaspora. Much good work is being done. And as a global Scot, I'm proud to be a global Scot. There's a lot of activity when it comes to global Scot right now, but so much more could be done. Really, I feel we haven't tapped into the energy and the potential for the business sectors and other sectors for philanthropy. My last point would be, when we think of the economy, I mentioned the small business sector, we also have to be mindful of what Scotland is, which is a rich, multicultural society of ethnic diversity, increasingly so. And so we need to celebrate that and show America that diversity. And I think we're all obligated to tell that story because it's a remarkable story. Glasgow is one of the most diverse cities. And now with the First Minister and others within the cabinet and throughout the Parliament, not just the governing party, there is much diversity. We need to tell that story, and it will resonate with business leaders or those who wish to invest in Scotland. For those sort of emotional or things that motivate a person to invest, go beyond, well beyond the making of a dollar or a pound. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.